Welcome to Habeas Treasures, where I try to decipher this book, There's Treasure Inside by Jon Collins-Black, in order to find one of the 5 hidden treasures. On today's episode, I'll be continuing my breakdown of the Past and Future Box chapter, and specifically the clues that have led me to a new starting point that's got me excited. Let's begin. In my research for the Pokemon box, I discovered some clues that led me to believe that Jon Collins-Black may have used parts of previous book-based treasure hunts to create the solves that lead to the hiding spots of the 4 Part 2 treasure boxes. That's one reason why I believe the book Ready Player One by Ernest Cline may hold the key to where to begin looking for the Past and Future box. It turns out that in addition to being a fantastic book that's mentioned in the Past and Future box chapter, Ready Player One also contained a real-life treasure hunt where the winner would receive a DeLorean like the one shown here in this video. Let's watch.
There's an Easter egg hidden in the book. It's not hidden in the ebook, but it's hidden in the print editions of the book, both the hardcover and the softcover. And if you can find this hidden website address in the book, it leads you to the first of 3 increasingly difficult video game challenges. And the first person to complete all 3 of these will win this card.
What was cool about the contest is that the first clue you needed to find was actually described word for word in chapter 6 of the book. This is where the main character, Wade Watts, explains that there were certain letters in Halliday's journal that had notches taken out of them, and the notched letters, all 112 of them, spelled out the clue. This clue led Wade to the planet Ludus, where he won the first key by defeating a real-world version of the famous Dungeons & Dragons module called The Tomb of Horrors. Anyway, going back to the real-world Ready Player One book contest, the author Ernest Cline also had placed notches on certain letters in the book that took the reader to a specific website that revealed the next step in the contest. Now, people have pointed out that some of the letters in the titles of the Part 1 chapters have notches taken out of them as well. I think this is more evidence that JCB is probably using previous hunts to help create clues for his 5 boxes. But since the notched letters are in Part 1 chapters, I think it's likely a clue for the lion's share box, not for this video. Instead, I think the clue that might help us find the starting point for the Past and Future box is the planet where Wade began his search for the first key, Ludus. In Ready Player One, Ludus is the planet where you go to school. In the book, Wade points out that Ludus in Latin means game. And coincidentally, let's listen to what JCB said hunters should focus on during his recent Q&A at Seeking TreasureCon in Las Vegas when asked about the Past and Future box.
Are video games involved specifically to the solution?
Games are involved specifically to the solution.
Maybe we should say, is a video game or games?
That would be yes.
Oh, okay.
Games are.
There's a little bit of a clue.
Yes, probably the closest thing I've given to a clue tonight.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so it sounds like games is a clue in Jon's mind. This could mean a lot of things, but in Ready Player One, game, as it pertains to a starting point, means Ludus, so let's see where that takes us. Now, if you do an internet search for Ludus, what pops up is the town of Ludus in Transylvania, of all places. And what's interesting to me about this is there's actually a Transylvania County located in western North Carolina near where the state meets up with South Carolina and Tennessee. A lot of people have pointed out that the word search might be indicating the intersection of these states through abbreviations shown here. The other reason I like North Carolina as a potential starting point is because of this passage in the Past and Future chapter. As I was writing this book, I would often look at our futuristic-style treasure box as it sat in my office. Its surface would reflect a state of gold from the sunshine through my window. It seemed to beckon to me, eager for me to dispatch it quickly somewhere I loved. It turns out that before the famous California gold rush, North Carolina was the original state of gold, thanks to the discovery of a 17-pound gold nugget found in 1799. And since JCB was born in Statesville, North Carolina, the state could qualify as somewhere I loved. And like Ludus, it also was a place where he attended school. The other reason I like Transylvania County as a potential hiding spot is the connection that Transylvania has to Dracula. You may remember that in an earlier Past and Future video, I linked the words puzzler and riddler the author uses in the paragraph leading up to the cryptogram to the 1960s Batman TV show. Both the puzzler and riddler were villains on the show. Well, it struck me that Dracula, the most famous resident of Transylvania could be considered the original Batman, since he transforms from a man into a bat. And I have to admit, using the OG Batman Dracula would be a pretty clever way to connect these clues back to Transylvania County. And if you rotate the commemorative coin shown in the chapter, it too could look like a bat. If the treasure is hidden in Transylvania County, having a commemorative coin featuring a bat makes a lot of sense. And finally, if you look closely at the word search, you can see the word sapphire in the last row on the bottom right, just on the edge of the word search. Well, in another coincidence, it turns out that the town of Sapphire, North Carolina, is located right on the edge of Transylvania County. Anyway, I think it makes sense to connect the starting point of Ready Player One, the planet Ludus, where the main character goes to school, to the starting point of the Past and Future Hunt, North Carolina, where the author went to school. Also, this might explain why JCB said he went to check on a box after a natural disaster, since western North Carolina, where Transylvania County is located, was severely impacted by Hurricane Helene in September of 2024. The other reason that this solve has me excited is that Transylvania County opens the door for the hunt to possibly include Transylvania's second most famous native, the Count from Sesame Street. Remember, in the book version of Ready Player One, Halliday is seen wearing a Muppet Show t-shirt while playing the Atari adventure game at the beginning of the story. This scene introduces the entire contest for the Oasis and proves pivotal in solving the final clue. Is JCB going to make a similar connection in the Past and Future box? Well, we know that similar to the word sapphire, the word count can be found on the edge of the word search. And who other than the author's grandparents would sit in a lawn chair and count the cars that drive by? 1 car, 2 cars, 3 cars. Anyway, that's all I've got for today's video. On my next video, I'll review why I think classic adventure games like Colossal Cave Adventure, Zork, and Sword Quest could play a role in the solve.